Hey, what's up, everybody, and welcome to the show. Hold on one second. What the hell's going on here? Everything keeps rerunning on me. I'm new to this, I guess. Hey, welcome to the show tonight. Hey, before I get way out of here, I'd like to say hello to everybody in the side chat: Tiger Ward, MNL, Melchot, Mike Jurowitz. Let's see. Uh, Tweedle D is here. Hello, Tweedle. Evil Rick, PA Biker 65. Hello. Let's see who else. Did I miss anybody? Of course, Rhody is here. And if I missed you, I apologize. Robert Pacuccio, hello. Jake from H2, hello. Welcome. And everybody who served, I'd like to say thank you for your service to this great nation of ours. It wouldn't be great without citizens like you. For at one point in your life, you wrote a check up to include the price of your life to the citizens of the United States. And I appreciate that from the bottom of my heart. And thank you. Hello, DeWitt. And without any further ado, I want to bring up tonight's special guest, the one and only Marine Corps' finest. And that's not saying much. RhodyRiderz. What's up, Rhody?
How much, Doc? How you doing?
Good. Hey, thank you for coming on tonight. Thank you for your service. I greatly appreciate everything you did for our nation.
Thank you for having me. And I want to thank everybody in the side chat for being in here. Shoot some questions to us, and yeah, this should be a good time. So yeah, Doc, what's going on with you, buddy?
So the questions I have, we're going to start off. What made you want to become a Marine? The men's department of the Navy.
Well, growing up as a kid, I was very athletic and I was into sports, and I was really in good shape and, working out and all that stuff. And when I got to high school, my grades were not, sufficient to go to college. I was, kind of one of those guys that, high school was a party thing. So I did work all the way through high school. And then, I signed up for the Marines in my junior year. And after joining up, that's all I could think of. So I focused in on becoming a Marine. Once the day boot camp came, I was ecstatic. But people don't really notice, unless you're in the Marine Corps, that boot camp doesn't start at boot camp. Boot camp actually starts when you get in the airport in like South Carolina. And from there on, it's just all hell breaks loose. And I just really sucked it up. I just loved it. I had wished, I only did 4 years and 3 years actually. And I'd wish I stayed in, but due to circumstances at the time, they were actually having Marines, us get out because it was overabundance of Marines in the Marine Corps. And that was due to the fact that, fortunately, I shouldn't say unfortunately, I was in during semi-peacetime. The only thing that was really happening at the time was Beirut went off in Grenada. So that said, there wasn't that much conflict going on, and there was more bodies than they needed in there. So I ended up getting out in 1984. So I served from 81 to 84. But in that time span, I did a hell of a lot of traveling. I ended up in Europe. Lived in Japan for a while, went to the Philippines, was on both sides of the country. I went to England, Denmark. It was an enjoyable. I felt like I was on vacation more than anything else until Beirut happened and I was in Denmark, and then the shit got real.
Yeah.
As soon as that popped, and all you guys out there, I was a mean green fighting machine. I wasn't a sand colored guy, with the sand camis and the camos. And
yep.
I was old school. I was trained by Vietnam veterans, which they were pretty tough with us. I don't know how the Marine Corps is today, but I'll tell you what, that was.
I had Vietnam veterans in my boot camp as well as from Army, and those guys were touched.
Mm-hmm. They went
so
all there.
I'm going to ask you, I know every Marine is a Marine first, so you're a rifleman, but did you have another job in the Marine Corps besides being a rifleman?
Well, yeah, my MOS was a 3111, which was basically in transportation. What I did was in there, I was what they call ag and dag. Ag and dag is where, and you're going to notice, Doc, I dealt with load masters and loading, C-130s, C-5s, C-140s, with helicopters, Jeeps, preparing to go on, like to NATO on missions and stuff. I also loaded trains. It was anything to do with loading. I was like what they call a secondary grunt. I was in what they call beach and port battalion.
Mm-hmm.
In other words, when the infantry would hit the beaches, I was right there with them. They'd advance, and I'd set up beach markers, and I'd feed them the ammunition and whatever else they need, water, fuel, whatever. That's what we did. But I was right there with them, fighting along with them. I also had the privilege of hanging around with recon, and there's things called ANLACO, which is air naval laser gunfire.
Mm-hmm.
They used to do sighting, where they would go into enemy lines, sight targets in the ships. The Navy ships would shoot their whatever they were and blow up the sites. And yeah, and then also I worked with another part of it was air delivery, where this is kind of crazy, where you would load up pallets of crap, throw it out the back of a C-130, and then jump out and go get it.
Yeah, I've been on missions like that with the Army. I was with the 82nd Airborne Division for my first active duty station. And, I am jump qualified, and I have 35 jumps with battalion under my belt. But that's when I was young and stupid. And
yeah.
Did you ever get a chance to go to jump school when you were in the Marine Corps?
I had opportunity, but I didn't go because of time.
Okay.
It was in Fort Benning at the time. Is where they would have, had jump school. And no, I didn't get an opportunity to go because of time restraints. But I kept being, peppered to go though.
Yep.
So you could earn your wings.
Yep. In jump school, I roomed with 2 Marine Corps, and we had a deal. They'd make the racks, and I'd buff the floor, because Marines know how to make a rack, and Army knows how to buff the floor.
That we do. Yep.
So
yeah.
So that's awesome. And then you got out of the Marine Corps in 84.
Mm-hmm.
Honorable discharge, right?
That's correct.
Absolutely.
Yes, I did.
And when did you start getting into motorcycles?
Well, I was into motorcycles before I went to Marine Corps. I've been riding bikes since I was a kid. Started off with mini bikes, into dirt bikes, quads, trikes, the 3-wheelers. And then I ended up in 1981, 1980, I got my first road bike, and that was a V45 Magna.
Honda Magna.
Those? Yep, 750. Little sucker could go though.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I rode that. Unfortunately, I went in the Marine Corps in 1981, so I really didn't get a lot of riding on that bike. When I got home, I started riding it again, but sparingly. It wasn't like I had the enthusiasm I do now. I rode that, and then life comes at you fast. You have kids, and you have a career, and you start building yourself, and the bike goes bye-bye. And then let's push ourselves forward to 2007 is when I bought my first Harley Davidson, which was a Super Glide, and it was a Dyna Super Glide, and it was a Super Glide. I forget what it was, anyways. And anyways, I bought my first bike in 2007, and I haven't looked back since, because it just kept escalating. I got into the baggies, and then here I am now. That I all of a sudden, it's just something clicked in me, because I used to ride around the block. It's like, you go. It's like I didn't go in it. You put you're lucky you put 25, 30 miles on it when you first get it. And then I ended up saying, screw this. I'm going to start riding this thing. And once I did that once, I was hooked. Now I just want to go.
It's addictive, because you could come back after you ride and, talk to your friends the next day. Like, what'd you do over the weekend? Well, I decided I rode out all the way out to here and back and there and back. And I did all this. What'd you guys do? No, I mowed my lawn.
Yeah. Yeah. That's, that's fine, but you got to pick and choose your days. Yeah. I always try to set one day during the week and to go and do any. Put it this way, I don't like taking my bike out unless I'm going to do 200 miles or more.
Unless you're coming to my shop and we're working on your bike.
Well, yeah, that's like 140 miles. But that's 280 round trip. So here you go.
So it fits the bill. M and L is over here singing cadence, and I'm loving it because it's the old airborne creed.
Yeah, he's I guess he said he's from my neck of the woods, right up the road from me in Woonsocket.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I used to, when I was with the Connecticut National Guard and I was a flight engineer in Chinooks, we used to go up all the time to Rhode Island to support the Rhode Island National Guard when they do their Leap Fest competition, the International Paratrooper competition. We'd go up there and support them. And Rhode Island National Guard is the only National Guard, believe it or not, who's got a Special Operations Command in Rhode Island. And we support them with their jump quals, whether it was a Halo or static line.
Yep. I know exactly where that is.
Yep.
Quonset Point.
Yep.
Yeah, they I don't know. They have had a lot of air shows there, but I don't think they do them anymore. I think they stopped doing air shows there.
Yeah, I know they still do the
Jump Fest. Yes, they do. Yep, I do know they still do that. That's something they they pride themselves with. But yeah,
he says Woonsocket.
Yeah, he's in Woonsocket. Woonsocket. Yes. But yeah, Marine Corps birthday's coming up.
Yeah, yeah. Was it 240 years now?
Yeah, something like that. I know. What's funny is Marine Rider. He's last year I kind of was talking with him, and he does a lot of celebrating for the Marine Corps. It's because he's basically still in the Marine Corps. So, but one day I've never done was to go to Tun's Tavern. And if anybody's familiar with Tun's Tavern, it's in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. And that's where the Marine Corps was signed in, because the Marine Corps used to be the Continental Marines. And and then they ended up changing over to, United States Marines. And
well, writing on 3 says 248.
248.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I was close being an Army guy.
Yeah, pretty good, Doc. That's awesome.
That is awesome.
Good.
So you currently have now a 2019 Road Glide?
Yes, that's correct.
And you just put suspension technologies on it.
Thanks to you.
Yeah, and it was my pleasure to do that for you. Mm-hmm. And hey, Process, how are you? Shadows here, guys. We got the unaffiliated is here. Hello, unaffiliated.
Dallas.
Yeah. And Wind Road is here. Hello, Wind Road.
Hey, Des. Hi, Dallas. Hi, everybody out there. Thanks for joining tonight.
So you did some events this year. You have any events planned for next year?
Well, the big one is hanging out down in Daytona. I'm keeping my fingers crossed everything goes well to be able to get down there. And then after that, it's I got a little quagmire where I want to go to Gettysburg, and I wanted to go back to Vam where I was last year. But the problem is they overlay each other. And I found out Baggers and Brews is also the same weekend as Gettysburg. Oh, you got to be kidding me.
Nope. They're doing it July 13th, and Gettysburg is July 11th through the 12th.
Why? I
don't know.
So you're already, I know you're already set to go to Gettysburg, correct?
Absolutely.
This is.
And I was looking at it going, yeah, it's only 4 hours from Gettysburg to, that part of Jersey. Maybe I could do that and head back. And I'm like, I don't know.
I'm like, because what I was going to do was I was going to come hang out with you for a day. And I was going to hop on a bike and head all the way down to Tazewell, Virginia.
Mm-hmm.
And then go from Tazewell. And I was going to go see the boys from Tennessee for a little while.
Yeah.
So that's I was planning on doing. So.
Are you still planning on going to Daytona?
That's my plan. Yes, me and my kid. My son wants to go, so we're just, I don't know. It's like he's been very sick lately, so.
No, I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, he's just, I don't know what's going on with him, but anyways, a couple of weeks ago I brought it up to him again. He goes, yeah, we're gonna go. So yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to stay at the Cackleberry like I want to, but I will probably be down there in one way, in some capacity, one way or another.
Yeah, right on.
But,
well, I'll be partying at the Cackleberry just about every night because that's where I'm staying.
Mhm.
And you're welcome. Come down anytime and hang out.
I would prefer to
some
stay
music and look, get some shots from the shot girls and have a good time. Jake says can't wait to see us down in Daytona.
Yep, absolutely. That's going to be a hell of a time. That's why I want to go. Everybody's going to be down there. I don't want to miss that. And like I said, after that, it's now, you just threw a monkey wrench in about, Baggers and Brews thing. Why did it,
I committed to, every year I commit to Gettysburg when I check out.
Yep.
So
didn't they?
I hate to say it to Bert and George that I won't be able to make it because of being Gettysburg.
That's going to be tough. That's going to be really, really tough.
It's right after the 4th of July weekend. And to me, it's real special being in Gettysburg during that time because the Battle of Gettysburg was the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd of July. So it's really close to the anniversary of the battle. So it's special to me to be there.
Mm-hmm. Well, here's my thought process when I do travel. I've already been to Tazewell and I've already been to Jersey. I've never been to Gettysburg, nor have I been to Tennessee. So, I think, if that's the case, it's going to be for me in the back of my mind going to Gettysburg and then foregoing, I still might be able to make it to Tazewell. I don't know, but then down to Tennessee and I won't be able to do the Baggers and Brews.
Yeah.
We can always, we can always go there again anyways. And,
right. But I'm going to have to, talk to Bert and George and let them look, no disrespect, bro, anything like that. I was really looking forward to coming back down to Jersey for your event, but I'm already pre-committed and pre-reserved in Gettysburg. And round trip, you're looking at an 8-hour ride plus the event.
Yeah. Thanks, Tiger. I will look you up when I go down there. Thank you.
Yeah. So that's the heartbreak.
Yeah.
So when did you decide to get into YouTube?
Geez, when was that? Like 3 years ago? About 3 years ago, I got in, decided to get into YouTube. And, I did a little, I did a motor blog on why I got into it. And I'm going to have to throw out a name here, but he kind of inspired me. It was John from Cycle Fanatics.
Yep.
John kind of inspired me, to do this. It was weird because I'm sitting on my couch with my kid and I'm watching this and here I am, at the time was maybe 59 years old. And I'm watching YouTube and I'm like, and I see him riding a Harley Davidson and I'm like, how the heck is he able to record without any cameras around him? Like, is somebody riding with him? And I don't know, because, I was new. And my kid goes, no, that's a special camera they use. It's a 360-degree camera. I'm like, oh. And then just, his mannerism and talking about the bikes and the enthusiasm that he had. And so, I started watching that. I said, maybe I'll try doing this, right? But little did I know what it entailed. Holy crap. I'm like, I didn't know anything about editing and recording and doing it. I was like, wow, this is a lot of work. So I got fortunate that, I bought a couple of little cameras, cheap cameras, and I started dabbling around with it and, doing a little bit here. And then I did one of my first ones, how I wash my bike, which was one of my biggest viewed videos. And it's like I feel my worst video. but
Yeah.
that's how it usually goes. So anyways, I started doing it, and then I just couldn't. I have a hard time like being in front of the camera recording myself, which many of other people do too, I'm sure. So I went down to Daytona 2 years ago, like not the year before last year. So, and I got to see John and Sandy from Holy Ship. So I was hanging out with those guys, and yeah, I it was a lot of fun. He spent a lot of time talking to me, and he's a really cool guy, like the nicest guy in the world, right? But he invited me to Jersey, so I ended up when I came home and that May, was it May? I ended up going riding with him and his crew out to Pennsylvania. So, and then then it took off from there, and I started doing this, and I started meeting people, like a lot of people here out on the side chat. I met quite a few people there, and I haven't looked back. And though my channel isn't big, which I'm not like this, famous. You want to be a famous YouTuber? I just do this for the enjoyment of people, meeting people. The biker community is by far one of the greatest communities that are out there, that I've ever, had the pleasure of dealing with. The camaraderie is almost like being in the military. And a lot about camaraderie, Doc, about not just in the military, but in the biker world. So you're really one to know that. And so that's what I find fascinating. All these people out here to talk to. It's about the common denominator, motorcycles. Yep. It's so great.
Yeah. Dallas wants to know, what part of Tennessee are you from, Rhody?
I don't know. Where should I be from, Dallas? What part?
Nashville.
Nashville. I'll tell you, I'll be down from Nashville. Yeah, I'm gonna live right between DDK and Tweedle. I'm gonna go between them both, and I can both rev bomb both of them.
There you go. There you go. So, going back to, you said your channel's not that large. I'm going to quote my wife. It's okay. Size doesn't matter.
I've heard that many times, right?
It just still works.
That's great. Yeah. No, it's just, I don't put that oomph into the channel like I should. I mean, I have, and I was telling you in backstage that I have a lot of video. I mean, I record all the time. It's just that I look at it, I'm like, that ain't good enough to put out there. That ain't good enough. But then one day, I was with, who was it? Full Throttle Hog, Ryan. And I spoke with him. He says, Randy, just put it out there. Don't matter. Just throw it out there. He says, after you do that about 100 times, you'll get the hang of it.
Yeah.
That was the good advice, I guess, by him. So,
and like anything, practice makes perfect. I mean, when you're in the Marine Corps, they had the crawl, walk, run stage when you went through training, and same thing with everything else we do in life. We tend to do a crawl, walk, and run stage, right? Because that's the way we were trained and the way we were conditioned to handle new experiences and new things. So we could become subject matter experts in that, whatever we're doing. Like I'm at the walk stage right now in my YouTube career.
Yeah, you're just about ready to get running. I'll tell you right now.
Nah, not yet. I still got a lot to learn in editing and a lot to learn with doing thumbnails. I got a lot to learn, and
if you take the analogy of the military, it's called adapt and overcome.
That's a Marine Corps thing. Improvise, adapt, and overcome. That's a Marine Corps thing. And the Army says, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Works great, lasts a long time, don't fuck with it.
Yeah. No, we'll rev bomb Father Time.
Yep.
Yes, we would.
Oh, he's done it plenty of times.
Oh, I know. I've heard. That's awesome. Yeah. I can't wait to get down there and meet those guys. I got to meet Dallas, so that was pretty cool.
Yep. Dallas he's a good dude, man. We hung out. I met him down at Baggers and Brews this past year.
Yep.
Man, what a stand-up dude he is.
Yep.
My wife says, she must say, this is coming from an Army veteran. She's an Army veteran. Best dress blues uniform
Best
for the Marine
uniforms.
Corps dress blues.
Oh yeah, by far.
I don't know. I'm kind of partial to the Army dress blues.
Yeah.
You know, I love my dress blues. I'm proud of my dress blues, like you were proud of yours. And
Yep.
did you ever get your blood stripe?
Did I ever get what?
Your blood stripe?
No, I didn't. I
Okay.
didn't get that.
I know a lot about the Marine Corps. I'm surprising you, aren't I?
Nah. Yes, you are. That's absolutely. Yes, you are. Oh my God. You know, I just was looking. I was sitting pondering. I'm like, I've been out of the Marine Corps for almost 42 years. It's 39 years. So I went in. It would have been 42 years I went in. I'm like, where did the time go? Holy crap. It just flew by.
Yep. See, I'm with M&L, man.
Yeah.
Class
Yeah,
A's with jump boots.
Yeah, that's pretty cool looking. I used to see those guys going through the airports with the berets on the side.
Yep.
You know,
ladder lace.
Yeah, the laces. Yeah.
I don't know if M&L remembers ladder lacing your boots.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
what was that? What was the like the stuff that across the?
Well, you had your cords.
That's What was that?
You had the blue cords for infantry.
Yeah, they had yellow.
Yeah, I don't know what all the cords were. I never got a cord.
Yeah.
Yep. I've gotten my blood wings.
Of course. Right.
Twice. Once for aviation, once for airborne.
Yeah, So anyways.
Hey, Noggin.
One thing I
know, Noggin was on the unaffiliated channel tonight as a special guest. He did a really good job. If you get a chance at the end of this, go back and watch it. It's a pretty good interview.
There you go, guys. One thing I always struggled with is the ranks, like trying to correlate the Marine Corps ranks to like the Army. The Army's pretty close, but you go to the Air Force, it starts changing. The Navy starts changing.
They should have it standard all the way across.
You know, you got chief petty officer, blah blah blah.
Oh,
and you got
I look at a Navy lieutenant.
What the freak that is?
It's the pause button like an Army captain.
Yeah,
I don't get it.
Yeah, I know. You know, and then in the Marine Corps you would have like two different, staff sergeant and gunny sergeant, or master sergeant gunny, and they have the same stripes, but one would be in office and one would be field. It was like, what is that? You know, one had a pineapple, one had a diamond. I never got up that high, so I didn't have to worry about it. But
yeah, you did when you saw them.
Well, yeah. I was more. The most respected officers I used to respect was the Warrant Officers, WO4s, WO3s. Those guys. And if people don't know what that is, it stands for WO is Warrant Officers. They're like an officer that's kind of in between being an enlistment guy and an officer. But they go through
what guy?
An officer and an enlistment.
Enlisted.
Yeah, enlistment.
Okay.
Enlisted.
Sorry, Rhode Island.
Thank you for correcting me. But yes, so they're in between. So they get the justice. They understand, so they're real good leaders. Really good leaders.
Yep.
Yeah.
I worked with a lot of warrants because they were pilots, and I worked with all pilots. So I'd work with the W1s through W5s, and a W5 is equivalent to a lieutenant colonel. And I was, of course, being flight crew, we were always on a first name basis.
Oh yeah. Yep. And they were one of the most respectful officers, that I'd ever met. Like those guys were like, they were awesome. I worked when I was stationed in Okinawa, Japan, and I worked on like a flight line, but kind of more or less it was where it was almost a passenger manifest thing. So I was the guy that was out there with the colored lights and mocking the C-130s on mock and bringing them in and all that. I did all that crap, loaded up loaded them up. And I got to meet a lot of different, people and from all over the world, even, other countries, military. And one of the coolest things was I met a 4-star general, and he sat down with me, and I come to find out he was from Rhode Island.
Ah, no kidding.
Yeah, that was it. That was the shit. And he knew my mom. That was even better. So
Ah, no
you
kidding.
you could imagine what that was like in there.
He's like, I'm go home, tell your mother how bad you've been.
Yeah, yeah, he was pretty cool. Yeah.
That's
can't
worse than an
remember his
Article
name, though.
15.
Yeah. What's that?
Having a general go back and rat you out to mom is worse than an Article 15.
Yeah, it is.
Because
Oh, yeah.
you got Article 15, mom doesn't know.
You're
Mom
going to
finds
the
out,
brig.
you're in trouble.
You're going to the brig. You got that. Yeah. One of the cool things too, when I was there, I used to be a duty driver, and over in Japan, you drive on the other side of the car, and you shift with your left hand. So, and you drive on the same side of the road that we do here in the United States.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, it's the weirdest thing because you're taking that corner that you're on the inside corner.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they had these little they were like little vans with dualies on the back, and these son of a bitches would screw, dude. So yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun being a duty driver. You always wanted to be one because you had downtime, gave you downtime. So anything to escape the madness.
Yeah. So let me ask you, Army to Marine, what is your favorite flavor crayon?
I don't know. Let's see. Let me choose one here. Maybe we can
see. A Marine's got a box of crayons.
I would say probably the green one. Yeah, the mean green. Is this the green one here? I believe. I think this is green. Yeah, this is green.
Yeah, you're colorblind these days, huh?
The mean green. That's what I would choose. Yeah, and you know what, Doc? The crayon eating thing. I don't know when that actually came into the Marine Corps, and how it got there. I still, there's all theories about it, but I don't really know how that all came about. I don't know whether it came through cadence when we ran cadence and eating crayons or what. I don't know. But yeah, that's it's something that stuck with the Marines, though. Crayon eating Marines.
Well, the term leatherneck is actually
true.
A compliment to Marine.
Yes.
Just like jarhead.
Yep.
Now, me being Army, I actually know a lot of Marine Corps history, or I think I do. But correct me if I'm wrong. The term leatherneck came from when they were the Continental Marines.
So
they would put leather around their necks to protect their necks from swords.
That's correct.
Yep. So they would protect their necks, hence the term leathernecks.
Mm-hmm.
Devil dogs came from World War II.
Yeah, that was
because
Audie Murphy.
Yep. Well, Audie Murphy got turned down by the Marines and went in the Army.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So that's
most decorated Army soldier ever. Mm-hmm. They turned him down because he was too short.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was Dallas size.
He was a devil dog. Like they consider him he was like
he was Yep. But that term was from the Germans because no matter what happened, the Marines kept advancing onto the Germans and they kept calling them devil dogs.
Devil dogs, yep.
And jarhead came from the haircuts.
That's correct. High and tights.
Yep. I used to always rock a high and tight flat top.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Up until I'd say the last 3 months of my retirement, my last 3 months on service, I didn't rock a high and tight. But up until then, all 25 years, I rocked a high and tight flat top.
Wow. I couldn't picture you with a high and tight top. I'm sorry.
I'll show you a picture if you want.
That's crazy. See it, we were probably both another 30 pounds lighter too, and we're rocking those.
Try 50. You ready?
Yep, here we go. Oh, who's that guy? Who stole Doc? Holy shit.
That was taken in 2016.
Really?
Yep.
That's not too far. I mean,
nope.
Holy crow. Oh, wow.
That was taken at Camp Buren, Kuwait.
Oh, in Kuwait.
Yep.
Yeah, so I got a question. Like, because I didn't serve in Desert Storm or over there in any of the conflicts over in the sand pit. And I don't really remember when. When did they start preparing the military to go there? Because they had to do a 360 flip because everything was jungle warfare when I was in from 1981 to 84. So when I left, how long was it when that started?
Let's see. The Desert Fatigues didn't come out until Desert Shield when we had the chocolate chips.
Okay.
It was the first desert camouflage. And then they came out with the chocolate chips, and they had the desert cam pattern. And then they went to the ACU pattern, which was the digital, which really made no sense to me. The worst camouflage pattern the Army ever had.
The digital ones, right? I remember seeing the digital.
Yeah.
I seen the digital.
It made no sense to me. And then they came out with the ASUs, which is what I just showed.
Yep.
And during Desert Shield and Desert Storm, there was a lot of mismatched uniforms because the manufacturers couldn't get all the uniforms out in time. So guys were in the desert with jungle BDUs and
jeez.
God, or they would wear their ballistic vests, which were in BDU pattern with the desert uniform, so it really stood out like a turd in a punch bowl.
Yep.
And see, M&L's right. The Army did have Harleys. Going back to World War II.
Yes, they did. Yep. Oh yeah.
And the first American who rolled into Berlin was on a Harley Davidson.
Wow.
But you're a Cold War vet. I'm a Cold War vet because I entered military service in January. Actually, no, it was August of '88. I entered military service.
Oh yeah, so you were that was Cold War still.
Yep. I was one of the very few in the Connecticut National Guard that was a Cold War veteran.
Wow. Yeah, that was that period of time was kind of pretty tense because of the nuclear thing. And I remember as a kid, doing protocols, getting under desks and stuff, and you'd see on like buildings with the fallout shelter signs. And as a kid, I just remember that being pretty scary, and in a way that then when the old Pearl Harbor thing prior and going to it, that's there's something. Yeah, that brings me back something. Pearl Harbor. Well, I know harbor. I know I say it funny. That's all right.
We're home, M&L.
Yeah. So when we went to Hiroshima and Nagasaki and we dropped that bomb, to this day, on the bases in Japan, on that day, you cannot leave that base.
Really?
Oh no. Yeah. They will.
You remember that day when they dropped the bombs?
No, that was no, but DDK might. Yeah, I think it was DDK's child back then. No, but yeah, but to that, I remember being on Okinawa, on Fatima, on the air base in Fatima up there. So we were on it. Kind of, it was like almost like the airstrip sat on a mountain almost, like and actually it's probably a volcanic mountain. And you go down the hill to the main road, and they shut all the gates all the way around, and there would be protesters out there for a couple of days, and they shut that. They meant business, because what they would do is they bring people from the mainland over there to protest, and they didn't want us to. They were pretty adamant about that.
Good night. How
to this day, it's still hot, because I've asked people that have been there. They go, "Oh yeah, but it's not as bad as it was before." It's kind of time heals all wounds, I guess. But
yeah,
and
yeah.
So yeah, that's something that going back to Pearl Harbor and World War II and all that. Good
Pearl
Harbor.
Have you ever been to the Arizona Monument?
Nope. Nope. Never got an opportunity to go there. It's funny because
I went there when I came back from Germany with my buddy. We were on 30 days leave. We went to Hawaii on a rotator,
I love
and we
to
stayed
have.
on the base in the base hotel. So we did that whole trip in Hawaii for like $300
Yeah.
total for two
Yep.
people.
Yep.
And we went to the Pearl Harbor Memorial, and it's something to see.
It's
It
pretty
really is.
airy, isn't it? They say
Yeah.
it's like it's just, you know what it is? It's for me it would bring me back to that time, like because of my like just as a kid, like thinking as a kid, what what transpired after that. Then you got what? The Korean War.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Korean War, and then we got into Vietnam, which we all know about Vietnam. Most of us here know something about it, or we've known somebody that is still alive that participated in that conflict.
Yep.
You know,
And the one thing I saw out of all of my deployments throughout the Middle East, the one thing that really affected me the most is when I was stationed in Germany, I went into Poland to visit Auschwitz.
oof. Well,
I was really, really curious. I was 19 years old.
yeah.
When you're back in '89, there were a lot of World War II vets still around, and you would hear about, the Battle of the Bulge and Normandy and Market Garden, and liberating the concentration camps, and you would hear all about Auschwitz and how that was the biggest concentration camp with the most murders and everything. So I made it a point to take leave and go to Poland and visit Auschwitz. And I could tell you, it still affects me to this day, to the point where, I sit there, now that I'm a little older and a little wiser, I sit there, how could this one man, being Adolf Hitler,
Yep.
no political background, he was a grunt soldier in World War I, go from being a grunt soldier
to a
to
dictator,
the leader of the Nazi Party?
Yep.
And I've done a lot of research on that, and it's actually not that hard to do as long as everything lined up like it did in Germany. Because he came in when he ran for office. It's kind of interesting. I'm gonna expound upon this for a minute if anybody doesn't mind. When he decided to run for office was after the end of World War I, and Germany was financially devastated, where they weren't manufacturing anything. 80% of the population was unemployed. They couldn't afford food. They couldn't afford housing. Nobody really had cars unless you were the royal family of Germany, because that's gifted to you and passed down and things like that. And so he came up with the Nazi Party. And now everybody sit down for this one. And this is a searchable fact. The Nazi Party, and wait for you to finish drinking because you'll choke and spit it out. Hitler got the idea of the Nazi Party from America with the Republican and Democratic Party that we had. He actually,
oh my God,
loved the idea of the party system with our government, that he started the Nazi Party. I mean, mind's blown.
Right.
And prior to the U.S. involvement of World War II, there were Nazi parties and communities within America that would hold Nazi rallies and Nazi summer camps for their kids and things like that. And so he comes up with this Nazi Party and tells everybody in Germany, if you elect me as your leader, you will work, you will eat, you will have a car, you will, be prosperous.
You hung the carrot over their heads.
Yeah. So he held his promise, because after he got elected, he started the Nazi war machine, which put everybody to work. which
Wow.
put every food on everybody's table, which put a car in everybody's hand, being the Volkswagen Beetle or the Volkswagen, which translates as people's car.
Mm-hmm.
And then he started with the trying to be pure Aryan race, and started with the rounding up and moving everybody who was not pure Aryan into the ghettos, and then from the ghettos to the concentration camps, which they were told you were there to work for Germany, you were there to work for the Nazi Party, and then from there it just got really ugly. So it was a perfect storm of events that put him in power.
And the more he got into doing that, the crazier that man got.
Well, he had a lot of other psychos right underneath him.
Oh yeah,
that came up with the processes of the concentration camps and the final resolve and all of that. And
crazy, absolutely insane.
So I dug into it so much because I wanted to learn about it because seeing Auschwitz and humanity at its ugliest, I wanted to learn about it, and I did. And then I got curious, and how can this one man be so powerful to control people to the point where young girls would go to school and learn nothing about, only thing they would learn in school is how to be a Nazi wife and breed pure Aryan babies. And that was their goal in life.
It's crazy. It was crazy. It's a form of brainwashing. Basically, he told people what they wanted to hear, and people ran with it, and they didn't know any better because they believed he was their savior. Which in turn, he might have been for a couple of people, but the rest of them, their faith was where you went.
Well, they didn't all work in the camps before they went to the gas chambers. Once they got off the train, if you were a child that couldn't work, or you were elderly that couldn't work, you went right to the gas chamber. You didn't work.
Holy, oof. Yep. So with that all,
there are a lot of documentaries on YouTube about Auschwitz and interviews with survivors, and it's amazing.
That said, that's why when I get off the plane every time coming back to the United States, I kiss the goddamn ground.
The first time I came back from Iraq, I lived literally right across the street from a junior high school. Now, I not the smartest man in the world. It rained once the whole year I was there. Actually, almost a year and a half I was there. It rained once, and it was like mud balls coming down because all the dust in the air.
Yep.
So when I came home, I was on terminal leave, and it was raining. So what do? I grab a lawn chair. I grab a 6-pack of beers. I go sit down in my front yard with T-shirts and shorts on, and I'm drinking beer, and there's a junior high school right across the street.
Jesus.
A local cop comes up to me and says, "What are you doing?" I says, "Do you mind? I'm enjoying the weather." He looked at me like I was crazy. And I said, "No, I haven't seen rain in over a year and a half being in Iraq. I just want to sit out and enjoy it." He goes, "Can you at least put the beer in a solo cup? You're right across the street from a junior high." I says,
"Oh my God.
Okay, I can do that."
I gotcha. You crazy bastard. Oh my God. Surprised you didn't come back with a straight jacket.
Yeah.
Threw you away, dude. Yeah. Oh my God.
But enough about me. Let's talk about you.
That
is all about you. What was your most favorite place to go when you're in the Marine Corps?
My favorite place it's a toss-up between Denmark and the Philippines. There were two drastic differences in life where Denmark was, rolling green farm, land of farms, and and I was a drinker back then, so that they had their cobblestone streets and the pubs in people's basements, and it was just, to me, it was a drink fest every day, Yeah. And the Philippines was a little bit, it was pretty third world, poor. Fidel Marcos, she was still in power. So they ran, it was a little, scary. You had to have your head on a swivel all the time there in the military. The kids would try to rob you. They poke at you and they use butterfly knives, cut your wallets out of your pockets. It was different. It was, too drastic there, but they both were fun. I actually went to the Philippines twice. I got to go twice. So, and right, I don't know if people know where Mount Mobutubo is, but that's in the Philippines. It actually erupted quite a few years back. And if you remember it, they covered like feet of ash over Angeles City, which was outside Clark Air Force Base. Okay. So that's where it was. That's where you could see the volcano out in the distance. It was a live volcano. And yeah, but recently I don't know who I was talking to. Maybe it was on Instagram, somebody from the Philippines. I went back and you can go and look at the street views of that place. Oh my God. It's like a casino. It's crazy what's there. Because when I was there, it was dirt roads, shady bars, and it was crazy. It was a nutty time. But my understanding is Clark Air Force Base is still there. And I guess with what's going on in the world today, I think we're back in there. I think we're occupying Clark Air Force Base again. So, because we gave it back to the Filipinos. Mm-hmm. We gave that base back to them, but I think, and they used it as a military base. So I think we're occupying that space right now, from what I heard. So just, because what's going on, and perhaps in Taiwan and all that good stuff, we needed, we need to be there at that base.
So did you ever make it to Taiwan?
No. I basically was on Okinawa in the Philippines. I didn't get to go anywhere else besides that. In the Marines.
So there were no lady boys in your past?
No. Not
just
like
on ship.
Not like Thailand and none of that crap.
Just on the ships.
Yeah, the ships. Right. No. Why, did you have a couple of lady boys there, Doc?
I was never aboard ship. I was with the men.
I never went on a ship.
No?
Never. Nope. Unloaded them. I've been down in the hulls and driving trucks, and
so you never went on what the Marines would call a float.
Yeah, I never went out on a float. I was advanced pilot. I flew everywhere. Everywhere I went, I flew. So I had it made when it came to that.
Zen, I'm with you. I'll go to Tokyo and I will eat sushi like there's no tomorrow.
Yeah. One of the craziest things I ate when I was in Japan was Mongolian barbecue.
Oh God. I love Mongolian barbecue.
But the way, dude, the way they make it there, it's so illegal. They couldn't pull that shit off here in the United States. They're like cooking inside a building with stones and stuff, and there's fire all over. I'm like, oh my God.
I love Mongolian barbecue. When I was up in Manas, Kyrgyzstan, which is Mongolia's right on the border and right down in town, Bishkek. I went to a Mongolian barbecue restaurant.
It's the best.
It was better than sex.
Almost. I wouldn't quite go that far, but
hey, I'm a fat guy. You're gonna trust a skinny guy like Rhody or a fat guy like me?
So I'm not that skinny. Not no more.
Skinnier than me.
Yeah, I'm catching up to you.
Yep.
But the other thing I had was Kobe steak, and if people don't know what Kobe steak is, that's like probably the most expensive steak. It's unbelievable. Yeah, cooked right in front of me. With the sushi chefs. I had that. Yeah, that's it. It's food there was pretty decent.
Yeah, the closest I made it to Asia was Afghanistan and Kyrgyzstan. Kyrgyzstan borders Mongolia and China and Kazakhstan, and only a small piece of Afghanistan, believe it or not, borders China. A lot of people don't realize that.
I'm surprised because you never had to fly into like Kadena Air Base. You never got a chance to go into Kadena, huh? I'm surprised. Or you would have flown it, if it was you were there, you would have flown where I was, because I was on a helo base. I was with all helos and the OV10s. We had OV10s at the time, and we had the Chinooks. We had the Blackhawks. We had friggin' what's the other ones? The medical choppers there.
The medevac, that would be Blackhawks.
Yeah, the
medevac units used
medevac
Blackhawks.
units was
Or
down
the
one end.
Hueys back in the day.
The Hueys, yep, they were there, and yeah, because that if you would have definitely flown into where I was. Oh yeah, I'm amazed. I'm amazed being on a runway with military planes that I would willing to bet. Like if people don't know what a C5 is, it's almost like you can play football in it. It's about the size of a football field, and the wingspan is like incredibly big, and it opens up front and back. So so it's a transport plane.
Yep.
But the runway that I was on, that I worked on, was not that big. It wasn't like a long Simplify, brother.
That's my buddy Weepa, man. I met him in Daytona last year.
Yeah. And I would never thought that C5 would ever get off the strip. But you know what? It didn't take much for it to get off because of the lift. They told me the wingspan is so big that it's right up. They can get in and out of small runways like no tomorrow. I'm like so amazed. We're fully loaded too. It's unbelievable. Yep. Unbelievable. You watch a Learjet, takes the whole runway.
Oh yeah. C5, C17s, C130s, they short takeoff, short landings. I've moved my aircraft overseas via commercial ship, C17s and C5s. And I've sent them. Some of the ports were in Kuwait. Some of the ports were in Rhode, Spain. Yep. I never made it to Rhode, Spain. I wish I did on one of my deployments. My last deployment I was on the list to go to Rhode for 21 days. And I got changed off that list to go to Rhode to go to Kandahar, Afghanistan. And they told me the reason why I'm going is because I'm the only one in the unit that's been there recently.
Oh, nice.
I'm like, and that's a reason for me not to go back.
I want not, yeah, right.
Send me to Rhode. You got these guys on their first deployment that's never dealt with that shit. Send them.
Yep.
They're like,
let them
nope.
Get their feet wet.
They're like, nope, you go. Funniest thing is, we got off the plane in Kandahar, and the entry control point called ECP 1, which was right by the airport on the base, came under attack by the Taliban. So as soon as we get off the back of the C-17, we're walking across the flight line, and the air raid horns go off, the ground attack sirens go off, and all my guys just hit the deck. I'm like, the hell are you guys doing down there? True story. They're like, we're under attack. I says, yeah, get up and get in the bunker. Sitting out in the open. What the hell are you doing? Get in the bunker. They got up and they hauled ass into the bunker. And I'm just sitting there going, I'm home.
Yep.
I'm home. At that point, we were in this house for 6 years. And I haven't lived in this house for 3 years at that point. I was always deployed.
That sucks.
Yeah. So, it's just what it is.
I think the worst part of the military was, for me, I would say the sea bag drag.
Oh yeah.
That's got to be the worst sea bag dragging.
I've done that.
Those who don't know what that is, that's like moving your house in a bag. The dag. Yes, the dag.
The worst is, Rhody, right? You leave country, right? We're leaving Afghanistan. We got to pack everything into one sea bag.
Yeah.
So you spend literally 4 hours packing this thing to make sure everything fits inside of it.
Mm-hmm.
Then you get up to Kyrgyzstan, you go through customs. All right, dump your whole bag out. All right, you guys got 30 minutes to pack it.
Oh.
30 minutes. Took me 4 hours to fit all this shit in here.
Yep. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Oh yeah. And then another thing I'm thinking is the guys know this one that's been in the hurry up and wait product there. You hurry up and you wait. And you wait.
Every time we deploy at my second deployment in 12-13, I was the platoon sergeant for maintenance. And all my guys were starting to complain. We're standing around doing nothing, going through medical and personnel. What the hell? I says, look, you've been training for this since the day you entered the Army. Hurry up and wait, and you're getting paid a lot of money to stand here and do nothing. So enjoy it while you can.
Yeah.
Because pretty soon you're going to be working 12 to 16-hour days and God unforgiving heat, 130, 140 degrees, and the flight line is 150 to 170.
Oh, yeah.
They're like, that's too hot to work. I says, but you know what? The work's got to get done. Yep. Mission's got to fly or people die. It's that simple.
Yep.
They stopped complaining at that point.
Oh, yeah. Stop fantasizing and start realizing. That's what that comes down to.
Absolutely. M&L, to give you an idea, for jump school, I was class 4489.
I know Nori was in there in the Army, I take it.
Yes, Nori's an Army vet. Thank you for your service, Nori.
Thanks, Nori.
I got busted from sergeant twice.
Vet. All you guys out there that serve, thank you.
Yeah, right on.
If it wasn't for all these guys, we wouldn't be here, that's for sure.
No, or we would, but we would be living a different life.
A way different life. A way different life.
Yep. And, my little brother, he was a Marine. And, I say was because he's passed away. And
about your brother.
Yep. So, that's why I know so much about Marine Corps history. Because I want to learn it because my little brother became a Marine. And once I know for a fact, when you go to Marine Corps boot camp, you're not a Marine, you're a recruit. And you have to earn your globe and anchor.
Yeah. Yep. One thing you do not do if you are going into the Marine Corps, like I saw guys putting on tattoos of USMC already on their arms, their shoulders. Oh my God. That's all I can tell you. I'm glad I wasn't them.
Oof. Yeah. I did not get, actually, I got my first tattoo after the invasion of Panama.
Wow. Oh, that's going back.
Yep. That was
when?
December 1989 when we overthrew Manuel Noriega.
Yes. Yeah.
Yep.
Yep. Were you
involved in that?
Yeah. You were.
I went with the 82nd Airborne Division.
Were you in the helo part of that, or you were just a grunt at that time?
No, I was an Apache crew chief.
Oh, you were a crew chief.
So, being a crew chief and maintenance guy, we jumped with infantry, and our job was to secure the airfield so we could land the aircraft, so we could offload our Apaches.
Yep, that's some shit right there.
Yep.
That's jumping right into that. That's jumping into the flames right there.
Yep.
He says, Weeper got I tattooed a devil dog and caught hell at PI for. Yep. See, Weeper's the one. Yeah, there's the guy. There's somebody that did something like that. Oh, you caught hell all right, dude. Oh, to say the least. Oh man.
It's like I said, it's like it is a badass getting a club tattoo before being patched.
Yeah. Oh,
hey, good night, Mike Jarowitz. Love you, brother.
Good night, Mike. You take care.
That's a stand-up dude. You met him, Rhody.
Oh, I met him. Met him and his wife. Nice people.
Stand-up dude. I love him to death.
Yes.
That's one of the few people I can call no matter where I am. He'll sit there and say, okay, where are you? And how much bail money do I need?
Yep. Raise hell, make bail. Right?
That's it. Fort Benning Airborne School, permanent party, huh? 18th Airborne at Fort Bragg. Nice. Nice.
Yep. So
So-
yeah, well, I'll tell you, a year went by pretty fast. Because I remember, Veterans Day last year. Like it was
Yeah.
yesterday. This creeped up so quick. I can't even believe we're in November.
Yeah.
It's insane how fast the time has been going by.
Oh, this has been an unbelievably fast year.
Like that.
Yeah.
It's
I look back at the videos that I created throughout the year. I'm like, holy, I did a lot of stuff this year. In the shop, and I didn't record everything in the shop.
You don't have time.
Well, not just that. If I'm doing 5 oil changes, I'm not going to record 5 oil changes for 5 videos.
Right.
That doesn't make any sense.
Nope.
That's just making content to make content that's not quality or different or new. And I'm looking back going, there was Daytona, there was Laconia, there was Gettysburg, there was the ride we all went on upstate New York.
Yep, that was awesome.
There was
Jersey,
New Jersey,
you went
Milwaukee,
to
Catskill Mountain Thunder.
Mm-hmm.
That's 7 events that I was at this year. Okay, I didn't record anything when we went on that ride because there were a total of 7 YouTubers there, and I'm like, nobody needs to see 7 video of the same ride.
It was though we all put out videos I think it was 3 of us, 4 of us. They were all still different. They were the same but different. They had different views.
Yep.
Which things that I didn't catch, somebody else caught. So that was pretty cool. That was a good time.
Fort Bragg, and I'll still call Benning Fort Benning.
Yep. I won't call them whatever that Fort Living. Get the hell. You know what?
Like Fort Hood is still Fort Hood.
Yep. Yeah. That's how I remember it.
Yeah.
So
I used to love it, traveling down 95, going through North Carolina. You see the signs, Fort Bragg. I'm like, home.
Yep. I'm home. Yep. Place to buy it.
Every year I get invited down to the Airborne anniversary, and I always sit there. I got to go 1 year. I got to 1 year. I got to 1 year, and I never make it. Hello, Gremlin. Welcome. I never make it to the Airborne reunion, and I would love to because I'd probably run into a lot of guys that I served with over the years.
That's why I was going to ask you that. See, I've never kept in touch with guys that were in my unit and all that stuff, but I went in buddy system, and I still keep in contact with 2 of my buddies that I went in with. The other 2 got shit canned, and they got out of the Marine Corps and they didn't make it. But there was 4 of us from Rhode Island. We all went in at the same time. One of my best buddies there that was in the Marines with me, he became a lifer. He stayed in and retired. He became a master gunnery sergeant. So he did well. The other guy stayed in and for about 10 years, and he had gotten out. So the other 2 got shit canned. They were, they didn't make it. So
well, I did 25 years. I've got promoted to the rank of staff sergeant, which is an E6. And when on my retirement, I was advanced to sergeant first class E7. But my retirement's based on an E6. So it looks good on their books that I retired as an E7.
Yep.
That's why they did it. No,
yeah,
pay me as an E7 on my retirement. They won't do it.
Before I got separated from the Marine Corps, I was trying to go to DI school. I wanted to be a drill instructor.
Oh, right on.
And I was gearing myself up to it, taking all the tests and all that. Went up for meritorious promotion boards. And one thing about the military that you all know that's been in there, it's no different politically in there as it is out here.
Yeah.
So that's what kind of got me off track because of the politics. Kind of persuade me to kind of push me more toward leaving the Marine Corps because of that. Because I wasn't going to stay in the Marine Corps for another 10 years just to be a drill instructor. When I was advancing and I did everything I needed to do to get there, and I was like maybe 2 steps away from it, which could have been obtained. And my master sergeant was flipping his lid. He actually come running around the flight line and yelling at a lieutenant colonel because of, me not getting a promotion to advance me to where I needed to be. And yeah, I just, you know what? And the other thing I probably should have done that I look back at in hindsight, I should have went into the chair force. I should have went over and transferred to the Air Force and went in the Air Guard, because I could have done my time in there and got a pension out of there. So it's the only thing that I kind of kicked myself in the butt for not doing. But I didn't, when you're like the age I was at, my mind was come home and party and do, and hang out with the guys and, all that crap. And now looking back, I'm like, oh, shoot, man.
Yep.
Yeah, I messed up.
You know what? I don't regret going to the Army, because I was Army Aviation, which is almost Air Force.
Mm-hmm.
Every time most of the times I deployed, I was on an Air Force base, and a couple of times I was on a small FOB where we were direct support for special operations. So we just do insertions, extractions, and things like that. And those were cool missions. They were highly dangerous missions, because, when you have Chinooks coming into a landing area, an LZ of unfriendly territory, they get a lot of attention.
Yeah. Yes, they do.
And so, I remember pulling out different types of calibers. And I mean, I actually pulled out a musket ball out of my helicopter in Afghanistan.
A musket ball? Where the hell did that thing come from?
Hey, whatever they get to fight with, man, that's what they're going to use.
What do you use it as a slingshot or something?
No, I guess he had a musket.
Holy crap.
Yeah. It missed the pilot and it missed my door gunner. It hit the airframe 3 feet behind my door gunner. And got stuck in one of the vertical ribs.
Wow.
Yeah, so sheet metal had a lot of work to do.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I know we were saying
just a couple more degrees to the left,
somebody would have got whacked.
It would have hit the pilot right in the head.
Mm-hmm. And down goes the helicopter.
No, we were on the ground when that hit.
Oh, you were on the ground?
Yeah, we were offloading troops for a raid.
Yeah, I seen Weep was saying that the Marine Corps Museum at Quantico is a must visit when passing through Northern Virginia, just off the 95.
Yeah.
Yes.
You could see it from 95, and it's an amazing thing to see just from 95.
So
when you either on your way down or back from Daytona, you got to make sure you stop and visit the Marine Corps Museum, because that hits home for you being a Marine.
That's correct. It's, when I'm riding, I've been, as we go around 95 as much as possible. So that's why, we were on the bikes and we never decided to stop there.
Yeah. So you got to stop. Even if you have your son, he'd
like that. He'd be into that.
Now, has your son served or no?
No, he didn't. He didn't serve. Nope. Yeah, nope. He had no ambition to serve. He's more of an entrepreneurial person. He didn't be in the military.
Yeah. Hey, it is what it is.
But to be honest with you, he would have made it no problem. He's very, he would have made it through any branch of the service. He's built like that. His mindset, he wouldn't have a problem with it.
Yep. So you wanted to be a DI, and I could respect that. I enjoyed being an NCO and a platoon sergeant and a flight engineer, because one of the things I love to do was train and protect my soldiers.
Yes.
That was my biggest enjoyment. I would tell them, I will protect you with every piece of rank that I have if you are 75% right.
Yes.
No, 75%
Oh, you
right.
give 75%. Oh, you're a nice
If
guy.
you are 75% right, the odds are in your favor. I will protect you with everything I have. However, if you are 75% wrong, I will come at you with the same amount of aggression
Mm-hmm.
and enthusiasm.
Yep.
But
That's
I
it.
love training my guys. I used to sit there when we were, when we had a down period in Afghanistan, and we had no missions going on for a week, but aircraft still needed maintenance. I would sit there and play a game with the guys. I would call it Chinook Trivia or Chinook Jeopardy.
Mm-hmm.
And on the Chinook Jeopardy, I would ask them, okay, what's this part? If they get the part right, they get 1 point. Okay. And if they could tell me how it works, then they get 2 points. If they could tell me how does it affect other systems, then they get 3 points. And
That's
then
cool.
the final question, everybody could wager all their points or as much as they want to for the final Jeopardy question,
Yep.
which would be the hardest one. And if the person with the most points at the end earned an extra day off. So instead of having 1 day off a week, they would actually have 2 days off. Which they weren't really off. They just didn't come to the flight line for 2 days.
Mm-hmm.
And it could be at their discretion. So if they were off on a Tuesday, they could have a Tuesday, Wednesday, or they could pick any other day of the week.
So, you're talking about you being an NCO, and with that comes leadership and leadership traits. Do you think they're taught or they learned?
Both. See, the way I looked at it and the way I mentored my soldiers is you're going to go through the Army's NCO academies and you're going to be given a basic toolkit for that. Now, I want you to think back to your first NCO, your first drill sergeant you ever met, and every NCO you met after that. Look at how their leadership style was.
Mm-hmm.
And there's going to be things you like about it, and there's going to be things you don't like about it. Take everything that you liked about all your different NCOs and make it your own style of leadership.
That's where I was going to go to. It's up to the individual NCO to make it their own way of dealing with people.
What worked for me, my style of leadership might not work for my squad leaders or for, my fellow E6s and E7s or other fellow platoon sergeants. Might not work for them because of their personality and their style. Some NCOs, their style is screaming and yelling. My style is not to scream and yell. My style is to go at it logically and ethnically.
Right.
But yet also keeping the letter of the UCMJ on the forefront. Because at the end of the day, what rules us is a uniform code of military justice.
Military justice. That's correct. And you also have your standard operational procedures that you have to abide by too. So that's that was a bunch of books that I look through all the time. And if you got to follow that to the letter, because you waver from that and something goes extremely wrong, they go to that. And when you're in front of the magistrate and you didn't do what that says, off you go.
See, I would keep one of my styles I would do is I keep a leader book. And inside the leader book, I would have handwritten notes, counseling statements, evaluations, annual or semi-annual. I would keep their ERB, the enlisted record brief. I keep, if they have an LES, I would keep that. What awards they have, what awards they got turned down for, and I would keep all that, and for all my soldiers in my platoon.
Right.
So this way, when I came to write a counseling statement or an evaluation, I would refer to my leader book, and I'd go to my soldiers tab, and I'd look at all their information. I would have their first name, the last name, the middle initial, the full social. I would have the rank, their date of rank, when they were promoted to each rank, and their MOS qualifications, their level of military education, what other corresponding court. I would have all that information right there. And when I would sit down and talk to my soldiers, I would tell them, look, hey, you've done this, you've done this, you've done this, you've done this. This is phenomenal. However, you would need to do this, 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 and this.
Improve.
Right. And then we're like, how the fuck does he know all this about my career? Well, it's my job as an NCO for my lower enlisted, which is E4 and below, which is their pay grade, which would be specialist to private. My job to mentor them and manage their career. And when they get promoted to sergeant, it's their job to manage their career, but it's still my job to mentor them. So I would know all my soldiers completely. How many brothers they have, are they married, if they have kids, I would know all that information.
Yeah, you know everything about them.
All of my leader book. And I would have my leader book with me every day because it was always working notes. So-and-so did this great. So-and-so did this great. So, okay. Hey guys, we got to do end of tour awards. I need you to write awards. No problem. I say, I need a day and I'll write my awards. So like one day, I'm like, yep, that's all I need.
One of the things too is, Lee, you got to understand people when you're a leader, and everybody can start at the starting line, but everybody doesn't come in first place.
Right.
So you're going to understand what people's strengths and weaknesses are and use it as a leader to your advantage.
Yeah. Well,
and that's
monkey wrench into that.
Yeah.
Your rock stars stateside, the guys that you can count on to do anything at any time, could do any job. No ifs, ands, and buts. Get that job done at 100% stateside. You get them downrange in the combat situation, they might fall apart. And the shitbags you had back in the States, downrange, they're rock stars.
Yeah, it is true. That is true.
Night, PA biker. So, so it's really interesting when you get into the intricacies of being an NCO and in charge of troops and running troops and managing their careers. And I always believe I'm going to train my lowest ranked individual to replace me.
Yes.
Which in today's civilian world, that doesn't happen because they're worried about you taking their job. I want my lowest soldier to take my job because if he makes E7 before me, I did my job training my soldiers.
Because as you're walking out the door, he's walking in your shoes.
Not
without a hop skip, just right into it. Yeah. So that, I just, again, I look back at my time in there, but people who were before me and people who now have served after me, they've both served in conflicts and I can't thank them enough for their service. That's for sure. And, but in my military mind, I sometimes wish that I did get to go do what I was trained to do. Because, it's like you sit and you train all this time to do something and you're never able to fulfill it in real time. So that's something I kind of regret. But then again, now that I'm quite older, like, you know what, I'm here, I'm home,
And so you're as proud as any other person I've ever met who's a Marine, proud to be a Marine.
Oh, man, I do it all over again. If I could do that again, I'd do it again without hesitation.
So
not even thinking about it, I would do it.
So, MNL brings up a good point here. Old schools, we don't tell stories. Well, the new school tells a story. And do you know the difference between a war story and a fairy tale? Fairy tales always start off with once upon a time. A good war story starts off with no shit, there I was.
There I was. Yep. In the middle of this.
Yep.
Yep. Non-vet, what do you call old school? Well, that's, Grandma, that's that's the shit there.
It's generational.
Different.
Nan vets called Korean vets old school.
Yeah.
Korean vets called
Correct.
World War II guys old school.
Yeah.
Current conflict vets call Vietnam vets old school.
but each one of those wars were a different strategy, and they were in a different environment. You know, you cannot compare World War II to Vietnam. It's
Nope.
like
Or
two
Korea or
or
Iraq,
right.
Afghanistan,
To Afghanistan.
Mogadishu.
It's so different. These
Yep.
conflicts.
Well, I could tell you how we flew in Iraq, completely different how we flew in Afghanistan.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Because of terrain. And Iraq, we flew at night all the time. Very few times we flew during the day, but 95% of the time we flew at night. Afghanistan, 98% of the time was during the day.
Mm-hmm. Well, you know what's funny? Like when I I don't know the terrain there because I've never been there, but when I see that terrain, from film or whatever, it looks like you're sitting in a wide open. Like at points, like there's nothing there. Like it's just wide open. And then you get into Kazakhstan and Pakistan and you get into the mountains, which that's a whole nother fighting technique there.
Absolutely.
That is like, that's a different, yeah. So
May, June, where I was in Tarakout, Afghanistan, we were at 5,500 feet above sea level. And it was 85, 90 degrees.
Shit down below.
No, 5,500 feet above sea level. That is the peak of Mount Washington.
Right.
That's where we lived. And it was 85, 90 degrees. We look at the mountains in the distance, and they were still snow-capped. And we were dropping off special operation teams on the top of that mountain.
Oh.
So we're taking off. It's 85, 90 degrees.
Yeah.
When we land on the top of that mountain, it's
Zero.
like, 0 or 10 below.
Yeah.
How do you dress for that?
You
just
insane.
freeze your ass off for that moment in time
Mm-hmm.
till you get down below where the temperatures start to warm up.
Come up. Yep. Well, that's yeah. I almost ended up going to cold weather training. No, when I was in, like he's dressed up just like you see Marky Wahlberg in The Shooter with the whites and the snow. Yep. Yeah, they had that when I was in there. I almost, I thought of that also doing that as a sniper. So I found that kind of fascinating because the range was on the other side of the river where I was, my barracks were, and you'd hear gunfire and Hollisters going off and all night long. My barracks would shake all night. You get used to it. And when I went over there, to qualify and stuff, these guys would be all dressed up in burlap bags, all shit. You didn't even see them. They could stand there. You walk right by them. Ooh, oh my God, they scared the shit out. But back then, they were still using M1s to shoot. For
M1 Garand, yeah. My first weapon I was issued was an M16A1.
That's what I had.
And then when they handed me an M4 carbine, and this was in 2016, I'm like, the hell you want me to do with this stupid thing? Because I was a flyer. I carried an M9 Beretta.
Yep.
And they're like, you got to qualify with this. I'm like, you want me to qualify with this? The hell?
Yep.
I haven't shot one of these or something like this since basic training. I don't know how to zero this stupid weapon.
Nope. Use your Kentucky windage.
That and, real quick, you go through your BRM book and go do your basic riflemen's and how to zero it and,
Yep.
Go from there.
Oh, yeah. One of the fun things, throwing grenades is pretty cool.
Oh, my favorite
weapon
ever to fire was a Mark 19, which is a 40 millimeter fully automatic grenade gun. 60 rounds a minute. That's 140 millimeter round, 40 millimeter grenade every second. Boom, 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 boom. Man, that was the sexiest weapon ever.
That's gonna be the shit right there, dude. Oh my God. Coolest thing was firing an M60, but I was in a prone position, just firing off the ground.
Yeah. Try that mounted. Try doing that rigid mounted on the ramp of a Chinook helicopter.
Oof. Hold on. That's awesome. Yeah, that was the fun stuff. Only thing is, it's as long as the bullets ain't coming back at you. That's that's what you got to worry about. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
That was some good stuff.
yeah. It
Good
is.
times. I'm glad I did it.
Me too.
I don't
100%.
regret a thing in my military career.
Me neither.
I really don't. I enjoyed it. All right. Good night, Des. Have a good one.
Hey, Des, thanks for hanging out with me, buddy.
She's such
Yeah.
a sweetheart. I
Yeah,
love Des.
she's so awesome.
Yeah.
She is so awesome.
And
lady.
I never regretted my time in the military. One of the worst things ever for me to do was to look at my wife and say, see you in maybe a year.
I made it a pact to myself that I wouldn't, when I was in the military, whatever term that meant, that I would never have gotten serious with a girl, because it just wasn't fair, man. It just, I was always moving. I was always being deployed or going somewhere. And that's the Marine Corps, man. You just always moving. There's no downtime. It's just you get somewhere and you're doing something. But I wouldn't want to subject my family to. I watch that, and it's a lot of work. And you gotta be special people, as family members, to be able to sustain being in that situation with your husband or your wife being in the military. I don't envy those people one bit, because I know how hard that is. And then the worst thing is to get a knock at the door.
Yeah.
That's
not knowing if you're going to get the knock at the door.
Or not knowing. Right. And that's, so I could never subject to anybody, I would never have done that, just knowing that. So,
my wife put up with it 3 times within 6 years.
Yeah. Yep. God bless Mel.
Up she tells me all the time, I have more rights to this house because I lived here longer than you. I can't argue that.
No, you can't. No, she's got you there.
I'm like, you're right.
Yeah.
See, he says he hated being in the Army. See, I
really?
loved it.
I love the military. I loved it. It just didn't work out at the end for me. I didn't leave with a bad taste in my. I really, really wanted to stay in, but it just wasn't in the cards. It just sucks.
My very last day in the Connecticut National Guard. And I did 10 years active duty. I did 15 years with the Connecticut National Guard.
He says, I love it now that everybody's thanking me. You crazy bastard.
My very last day in uniform, I was walking out of my facility. I stopped at the door. I turned around and I looked around and I looked at my platoon, because they let me go half a day. They said, we'll pay for the whole day. Just go. You're done.
Yep.
And I turned around and I looked at my platoon, and they were still doing their job. And the guy I trained to replace me was running the show, and stuff was getting done. And I looked at it and I says, you know what? I did it right.
Yep.
I got busted once.
Oh, you got knocked down, huh?
Yep. Oh, I got an Article 15, man. Every good NCO's got an Article 15, a DUI, and a divorce, or a combination of the 3. I had a divorce and an Article 15. So I turned around and I looked at it. I said, I did it right. I always took care of my aircraft. I always took care of my soldiers, and I always took care of myself.
That's why you're here.
And I said, I did it right. And I would not ever regret my service, because I made other men be better, made them to be better men than they thought they could be.
It's amazing what you can accomplish if you put your mind to it.
Well, it wasn't just putting my mind to it. I was
having
going in to do a job that I loved. You know, I love being in the military. I love the climate of the military. I did not always agree with the leadership that was there.
No, and we don't agree with our leadership that's out here either. So
Right.
you know, it's just, I don't know. The military is just so tight. When your
Yeah.
peers and your leadership, it's because you have to trust and believe in these people, because when the shit hits the fan, man, you better hope they're ready to go, and you got to have them prepared to go, because if you don't, man, you're gonna be in a world of hurt.
Yep.
So I can
See, I'm with them now. The first time I ever flew in a plane, I had to jump out.
no perfectly good airplane.
My mom says to me, when I told her I joined the Army, I'm going to airborne school. She goes, "You're going to jump out of airplanes?" I says, "Yeah, why not? Sounds like fun." She goes, "You've never flown before?" I says, "No." She goes, "What if you don't like it?" "Well, I'm jumping it anyway. So if I don't like it, I'm jumping."
I'm getting out.
So the first 5 times I've flown on a plane, I never landed with.
Jesus Christ. That's quite that's something else. That's something else.
You know, I never regretted my service. I never regretted anything I did in the service. Is there anything I would have done different? No.
Yeah, me, I don't see anything I would have done different. I had a pretty good time when I was in the service. I actually enjoyed the people that I was around. I never had, you know, I don't have any regrets. I just the only thing I wish, like I said, I wish I at the end that I knew I wasn't going to be no longer in the Marine Corps, that I switched over to the you know, Air Force.
Yeah.
You know, and because I should have known better when I was in my last duty station, which was Okinawa, my last year, and then I went to Camp Pendleton. But being in Okinawa and going to the Air Force Chow Hall is like going to a 5-star diner or a 5-star hotel restaurant.
Yes, even in Iraq or Afghanistan.
I'm like, what the hell
I'm
is
in
this
the middle of the desert of Iraq. It's Christmas time, and I'm on an Air Force base, and they flew in this 30-foot evergreen live tree for a Christmas tree in our chow hall. I'm sitting there going, I can't get parts from my helicopter, but they get a fucking evergreen.
Like a blue spruce.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean the food, and you know, I used to get away with it at Kadena every so often, but they sometimes wouldn't let us go in there because they said, "Oh, it's only for Air Force." I'm like, but you know, it was the game. It was you played the game. You know, the Air Force against the Marines, Navy against the Marines. Yeah, so you know.
I was working on the flight line one day with
shit games.
My maintenance test pilot, Richard Rhody. May he rest in peace. I loved him to death. I looked at him as a second father. That's how much I loved and respected him. And we got off the flight line and we were working on our aircraft. And this is one of the very few warrant officer pilots that would work on the aircraft with you. And we were filthy. And he was a W5.
Oh, he had some weight, that boy.
This little airman at the chow hall checking IDs looks at him, says, "Sir, I'm sorry. You can't come in. You're too dirty."
Yeah. Yep.
Let me tell you something. Now, Rich, you would like Rich. He was a Marine early in his career. He was an enlisted Marine, went to Army Warrant Officer School, became a pilot, flew Apaches, flew Chinooks, became a maintenance test pilot for Chinooks, and he tore into him. And the mess officer at the time, which was a butter bar, comes up and says, "Who the hell is yelling at my troop?" He looks at him and says, "I am, Lieutenant. What's your problem?" He looks at his rank and says, "No problem, sir. What can I do for you?"
Yep.
He's like, "Your little airman is not allowing us to eat. We've been on the flight line for 5 hours in 120 fucking degree weather. He's telling me I have to go back and shower and change before I have lunch and go back to work. Is he out of his mind? Is he stupid?" Hey, Gene, how you doing?
Matter of fact, his ass can go outside, start doing push-ups and mountain climbers.
Oh, he did.
Cows come home.
And let me tell you, this guy, Rich, he used to be on the Rangers practice team.
Wow.
And his hands were like meat hooks. I mean, he was a big dude. He was about 6'3", 6'4", and he was built like a brick shit house. And man, I loved Rich. Unfortunately, he passed away of a heart attack in 2013. 10 years ago.
How old was he?
He was 59. He was a year away from mandatory age of retirement.
Oh man. Oh God.
Yep. And he was a fitness nut.
Yeah. You don't know. That brings me up to a point about riding motorcycles and traveling. I tell people all the time, you have only one life to live. You better live it to your fullest because there is no do-overs.
Nope.
You don't get to do this over. Keep that in the back of your mind. Whether you're at work, whether you're at play, or you're just sitting around, you just remember, you don't get second chances in this life.
No, you don't.
There's
no do-over.
Nope.
And I mean it. Every time I end a video or a live and I tell everybody to live the best life they can, I honestly mean it from my heart because I want everybody to live their best life.
Yep.
Because if you're not living your best life, then you need to make a change so you can, because you get one shot being on this earth.
Yep. And the older you get, the more you realize it that you only have days. You start counting. It's weird when you're a kid. You think you're gonna live forever. Life's good. You start working, and then you look at, I can't wait to retire. Well, when you say I can't wait to retire, all you're doing is wishing your life away.
Why? Retirement is not an age requirement; it's a financial requirement.
That's right.
That's what a lot of people understand. Like, I can't wait to retire in 7 years.
Yep.
Because I'm going to be doing a lot of motovlogging. First trip will be leaving my house to hit Route 66 and ride it all the way down to the Santa Monica Pier from mile.
I hope I'm there to join you with that.
From mile 1 on Route 66 all the way to Santa Monica, and then take my time coming back.
Yep. That's on my bucket list.
And I'm going to do it, and Cosmo's going to appreciate this. I'm going to make the trip, and my schedule is Hawaiian time. Means it's over when I get there.
Yep.
When I get there, I get there.
Yep.
I have no schedule. I have no plans other than I'm riding Route 66. I see something cool. I'm going to stop, pull over, and take a look at it. And I'm going to take photos, and I'm going to take video, and I'm going to experience it. And then I'm going to move on to the next cool thing. So it might take me a full day to go 10 miles.
Who cares?
Well, who cares?
You have no place to be except where you're at.
I have direct deposit going in, and that's all I need.
Plastic, fantastic.
That's it.
Yeah.
And I'm going to stay in hotels, and I'm going to, hey, it's pouring out rain today. Okay. We're ordering in.
Yep.
Oh, it's sunny out. We're riding.
So,
let's go.
I see the sign. Route 66 starts where? In Chicago?
Yes. In Detroit.
In Detroit, Michigan. So.
No, it is Chicago. I'm sorry.
Is it Chicago?
Starts in Chicago and goes right to the Santa Monica Pier.
Right. So I want to do that. So I've looked, man, that's one of on my bucket list. But I want to, you know what? I'm not saying I want to, I'm gonna. There's no wanna. You're gonna. You just do it.
Hey, Oakley, how you doing? Oh, the lovely Mrs. Kelpfire is here. Hi, sweetheart. How are you doing? Much love, respect to you and Fact Light. I hope you guys are doing well. But yeah, I mean, why am I going to be able to retire at 60? Is because my military service.
Yep.
So
Oh
definitely
yeah.
no regrets there
Nope.
because of that.
No.
If anybody's interested, I have linked Rhody's YouTube channel, his Instagram channel, and his second Instagram channel, which is Rhody Jr., in the description of this video. Go ahead and follow both his Instagram channels. And if you haven't, please subscribe to his channel. He's coming up with some really great videos. I know he's coming out with a really good yet funny suspension video.
Yep. It's keyed up. It's on my. It's in the. It's in the
When is
quid.
it? When is it? When is the suspension video coming out?
I have no time limit on that. No, I was hoping to get it done this week, by the end of this week. That's when I was planning on doing, because that's on my list to get done. I've had a lot of things going on. There's a couple of things that I know Jake and Tweedle, I don't know if they're still in here, but there's something else I have to do for them, and I haven't forgot. It's just time. Yeah, I've been dealing with a lot of things here and at home, and I just haven't been able to set time because I want to record some of this stuff. And yep, yeah, he's still. Yeah, I'm like, you're right there, Nori. I'm just like me and Tweedle are like two peas in a pod when it comes to editing.
Oh, okay. So I'm gonna say he's tall. You're my height.
Yeah, but it comes to editing, not height wise. But yeah, so I got a few things on the back burner that I have to get done. I got a couple of. I recorded 2 more rides this past month. Yeah, so far that I want to, that hopefully I can get those put out there too. So yeah, I got content. I just got to get it edited.
Yeah, yeah.
Which
Awesome.
I suck at.
Yeah.
I'm good at that. But
So what rank did you make it to in the Marine Corps?
I ended up winning as an E3.
Okay. So that
That would be a Lance Corporal.
Lance Corporal.
Mhm.
Because you had private first class
Yep.
Lance Corporal.
Yep.
Nice.
Yep. Yep.
I've met a lot of Lance Corporals, but after that, it's harder to make
Well,
rank in the Marine Corps.
well, that's what I was telling you that earlier. I went up twice for meritorious promotion. That's how outstanding of them. And both of them I didn't get because of politics. Both of them. The first one, all right, because it was my first time doing it. The second one, it was no, I should have had it. It was mine. It just, so
It was because you were white.
It was just because of politics,
Yeah, because you were from Rhode Island.
Yeah, maybe that could have been it. From a little state. They didn't want to give anybody from a little state, rank. But that would have kicked open the door right there and then, because I could have started going into the DI thing and re-up, because I was near re-up, and I could have rolled in because all I needed to be was a sergeant. So that was next. So, but there's a program they had. If I was going to go to DI, they'll advance me to sergeant as for DI, to go into DI school. So it was a pretty cool thing, but I had to get corporal to do that, and it just didn't come to fruition. And I was so mad and devastated. It was like, and I was one of the maintenance guy in one of the barracks. He was a staff sergeant. He had been a drill instructor, so he had already been teaching me things that I needed to know. And it was me and another guy. We were both, planning on doing it. So, I already had kind of a head start on it, and yeah. And matter of fact, I don't know if you ever heard of the Silent Drill Team.
Yes.
Okay.
They're amazing to watch.
Yeah, I have friends that were in the Silent Drill Team. So you ever see the way they dress, their uniforms? That's what I looked like going into a promotion board twice.
Yeah.
And all my answers were boom, 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 boom. I had all the answers.
Yeah. I've sat on the E4 to E5 promotion board quite a few times.
Yep.
And let me tell you, you think it's nervous going in front of the board? It's even worse when you sit there on the board, and you're never on the board for your own battalion because
No.
you're for another battalion.
Yeah.
And you have,
That was the problem.
let's say you have 5 E5 slots to fill for
Mhm.
people who get promoted as sergeant. And then you have 40 specialists or corporals going to the board for this. And it's a whole process. It's a whole thing. And it's very nerve-wracking on their end and on our end because we could mess up the board as much as they could.
Yep.
By asking the wrong questions or not presenting yourself well.
Right.
Because you're there and you're class A's or you're dress blues.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Oh, it's nerve-wracking.
The commander of the board, which is usually a command sergeant major.
Yep.
Or a sergeant major, will put out the uniform for the day. Yep. And of course, you get inspected and it better be right or you're getting a counseling statement.
Mm-hmm.
And then you got to fix it. So it's nerve-wracking being
on
God,
it is. Yeah. And you know, you had to know the UCMJ back and front. And you had to know, see, you had, man, there was things that you had to know. And I knew at the time I had it, they were all there. And they would say it, and I already knew the answer before. As soon as they said the first things out of their mouth, I already knew the answer.
So ML wants to know where in Rhode Island you are.
I am in Pawtucket, on the Pawtucket East Providence line, closer to Seekonk. Yep.
Prison here in the exercise. No, I can't say. I've been on the outside of a prison. Really haven't.
It does. Zen, it does remind you of the cadence and stuff.
Yeah.
What's up, Road Reality?
Yeah, hey, what's up
this evening?
Yeah, but you know, a flag detail, yeah, that's always at BLC, yeah. I've done it at BLC, I've done it at ALC, done it at PLDC. I've also done it for an AIT and when I was at Fort Bragg. You know, being a newly specialist at Fort Bragg, and I got advanced to corporal. I was the NCOIC of the flag detail for morning and evening.
Yep, I did
for
the flag
a whole month.
I did flag detail.
Stunk.
Yep. Beverly. Taking that flag up and down and folding it.
Yeah.
Oh God.
By the numbers.
I had what they call mess duty. Did they have mess duty in the Army?
It's called KP.
KP duty. I had mess duty.
Yep.
That was like, well, I actually had a good time, but then it was reasons that I will not disclose ever. But I did have a good time. It was early in the morning. Oh man, you're up early and you stay late, and it doesn't stop. There's a lot of potatoes to peel.
Well, they use in the Army now. They use powdered potatoes for mash.
Wow. Yep.
Yeah, it's all about mass quantity and. Yep. Nope.
Everything's clean and prep and I was in the scullery. Did that. I did. Oh man, I had it twice actually. No, that's when I learned that I'll never work in a restaurant.
Yeah.
Hell no.
Yeah, my little brother, he graduated Johnson and Wales University as a chef.
Mm-hmm.
Went to the Marine Corps. Of course, he became a cook in the Marine Corps. His first duty station was down in Gitmo. And during Marine Corps birthday, the fleet came into port, and he ended up cooking for all the admirals and the captains of the boats. And one of the rear admirals really liked my little brother, and he became his personal chef out in Miramar.
Oh, geez. You did tell me this story. I remember you telling me this.
And he got tired of being in Miramar and being this personal chef for this rear admiral, which promotions came quickly for him because you get recommended for promotion by a rear admiral, nobody's arguing it and saying no.
Nobody's going to say nothing.
You know, so he's like, well, I want to go cook at the Pentagon or the White House. And the rear admirals, no, you're staying right here. You're not going anywhere. Because his job basically was cook breakfast, lunch, and dinner for the admiral, cook the meals for his parties at his house, or just do cocktail hour, whatever, and then do all the shopping. That was his job, which is a pretty easy job in the Marine Corps. He said he didn't have to go to weapons qual. He didn't have to do that. He didn't have to do anything. Just cook for the rear admiral. That was his job. What a sham.
That's what you call skate duty. You know what the other good duty is? To be the driver.
Yeah. So
to drive them around. Oh my God.
He looked at the admiral and says, look, either you transfer me to the White House or Pentagon and cook, or I'm getting out. He goes, I guess you're getting out because I don't want to lose you. He says, you're losing me either way.
Right. So
he got out, ETS'd, went and worked in the kitchen and an open kitchen in Long Island, and not Rhode Island, Long Island, New York. And met a gentleman named Will Castro. If you guys remember, he had a TV show on Speed Channel called Unique Whips and was his personal chef.
Yep, I remember you telling me this.
Yeah. So
I mean,
Jason was quite accomplished in his short time on this planet, his 35 years.
Yep.
You know, he won a cooking competition with a ham and cheese sandwich. That's how talented of a chef he was.
That's insane.
Yeah. In the state of New York.
That's crazy.
Yep. So we've been going at this for 2 hours.
It is. Seems like we just got on.
Yep. It goes by fast. I always have a lot of fun with all my guests, and I'm not going to stay on late tonight because tomorrow I have to pack because early Friday morning, we're flying out to Florida, down to Tampa, and we'll be back Sunday night. I'm going down for family business, going for a celebration of life for my uncle who recently passed away, which was my last uncle. Out of all my aunts and uncles, he's the last one. And so we're definitely going to be doing that.
Yeah, that's a must to go there.
Yeah. So I'll be in St. Petersburg, Florida for the weekend. Rhody, I'm going to give you the center stage, front and center report, and give us your final thoughts and everything.
Doc, first of all, thank you for having me. And also, you've been a great friend. And I want to thank everybody that's in the side chat for being here today and also tonight, I should say. And I want to thank all the vets, past and present and future, for doing what they do for this lovely country we live in and our freedoms. And everybody, have a great Veterans Day and a great weekend coming up. Thank you so much for watching.
I couldn't have said it better myself. Rhody, thank you very much. Happy Veterans Day to you.
Yep.
Happy Veterans Day to all the veterans out in the world,
all the Marines,
past, current, and future veterans. You know, and as always, everybody, live the best life you can. Ride often and ride hard.
Good night, guys.